Getting ready for the second group of athletes in our first heat here. This is the first race of the 2011-12 season. The IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup kicks off here. And this track built for the 1976 Winter Games. At the top of the track is the USA's Annie O'Shea. Let's see what the 24-year-old can produce for us here. First off, a great start, 5:39. That's the quickest of the competition, and that puts her immediately into the lead. That's only a tenth away from the all-time track record.
Annie O'Shea has some of the best starts on tour. She loses her time going down the track. The coaches are working with her. She's got to keep her mental frame of mind clear and stay quiet on the sled. You can see she's dropping back already.
Well, she's still 500s up now. If she can get a good run down through the upper labyrinth and the Kreisel, she could keep most of that speed on board. 400ths of a second behind. Oh, long slide there.
That skid out of 9 is just going to cost her, and that is one of the troubling curves. She's dropping back a little bit now.
Well, you know, we've seen this so often, haven't we, that an athlete who comes in and knows how to drive but hasn't got a start, very hard to improve. If you've got great power and speed, you can learn to control it down the run. I mean, the classic is, you know, the Russian way of doing it is you get a speed athlete and then you bribe him or cajole him or persuade him to lie on one of these missiles down the track. And so, yeah, Annie can tidy up the driving, but she's got the power to put momentum into the sled, and that's the first step.
That is the first step, and everyone recognizes that Annie's got a lot of potential. That sideward skid out of 9 is costing a lot of the athletes, and it particularly affected Annie O'Shea's run here today. But nevertheless, first one under the belt, and looking forward to the season ahead.
And she's moved into the top 10 as well, 8th place off start draw number 11. Now this will get the Austrians paying attention. On the right-hand side there you saw the face of Martin Rettel. During the summer he's an air traffic controller here at Innsbruck. During the winter, since he was 15 years old, he's been an ice slider on this track, now coaching the Austrian girls and the Austrian skeleton men as well. This is Janina Flock, just 22 years old. 5th in the Junior Worlds in 2009, 3rd in the Junior Worlds in 2010. And on her home ice, this is where she first learned all about the excitement of skeleton. 5:57, just 700ths away from the start.
Start for her. And as you mentioned, Martin Rettel, who used to coach the Americans after his silver medal finish in 2002. And Janine is holding her own here.
1500ths up. Tried to pry a few secrets out of Martin at the top of the track early on. He wasn't saying, he said, we've got a couple of things that we've been working on. Let's see if she can find them. Quarter of a second away. Little rub on the wall is going to rob her of time as well.
Nice exit out of 9, straight line. 10 will be her key here if she picks up. Nice
she needs to find some speed, David. She's a 2 kilometers an hour adrift of the leader at this stage. That puts her in 6th position. Wow. We're seeing some big gaps opening up. 54.98. That is the same time as Sarah Reid of Canada, so they are tied to the 100th of a second. In fact, there's a 3-way tie. Shelley Rudman, Sarah Reid, and now joining them, Janina Flock.
Nice exit there, foot off the ice. Kept her speed down at the lower curves, and that's why she's done so well here. And Martin Rettel, I think, is appreciating that the ice has gotten quicker for these athletes after the first 5 went down.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, the whole point of the refrigerated track, of course, is that the weather shouldn't have too much of an effect, but just polishing the frost off the ice as the sleds go down does reduce the friction a fraction. Now here is Lucy Chaffer of Australia. She's the second of the Aussie girls. The familiar sounds of them being shouted off the top by the coach. 5:58, again, that's a decent start, just a 100th away from the start of Janina Flock that we've just seen.
Looking good from curve 2 to curve 3, straight line, shoulders down over the sled, knees just slight pressure on the back blades, trying to keep her speed.
Well, like so many of these Australian girls, recruited from various different track and field and other athletic pursuits, and targeted to try and make it onto the Olympic podium. 22-300s away. This could well leave her in the top half dozen, but that skid might put paid to that.
One of the fatal errors. Curve 9 takes another one.
Ooh, late,
her timing is
late.
way off with that exit. The sideward slide down the straightaway into curve 10. She has dropped way back.
Well, we talked about it a little earlier, David. The way the labyrinth comes at you, there's no room for adjustment. You're either on it right, and it's right all the way through, or you're on it wrong, and it gets wronger and wronger and wronger.
Yeah, really. And that straightaway going into 10 is part of the key, and if you've had a bad exit at 9, that translates into your troubles all the way down the rest of the track.
Again, the wall camera shows, you think of ice as being flat, but of course it is only flat when it's on a level surface. It's very bumpy when you send it down
Look
the mountain.
how high that exit is, and that just shot her laterally on the sled.
She was still on the wall when the corner had finished, and that's as close as you come to crashing without actually barrel rolling down the track. Next up then, start draw number 14, Kimber Gabrishak of the USA. And again, it's the new generation of sliders coming through. We're expecting to see Katie Uhlaender, the multiple US champion, on the World Cup trail. She made the qualification standard, but she's not here. So we'll wait and catch up maybe with her in a week's time at La Plagne in France.
Yeah, Kimber Gabrishak is a planner in Summit County, the location of Park City, a high municipal official and a lot of planning issues in Park City. A very bright young woman, and with her slow start, she's got to be a technician to come down and gain some speed in this track.
67.
You saw she had a big piece of black gaffer tape across the visor. That is to train her to keep her eyes down, to look through a tiny little slit, to make sure she's not got the head too upright and therefore disrupting the airflow.
Yeah, and actually you saw her head a little high there too, and that creates an air dam, and she doesn't have the best aerodynamic. Whoa, high in 10, that's going to be the late exit, and her time is off too. Another one. Ooh. Just rocking back and forth, clipped the wall before the finish. Not a very good run for Kimber.
Well, David, that's the kind of run that you wish you'd left behind you in training, isn't it?
Yes, really. You know, and her head's down now. She knows that she dropped it all down at the lower part of the track, and with a slow start. Oops.
Oops is right.
Look at that, way high in 10 over the loop. That means a late exit that drives over into the lower sidewall, and her timing is off for the lower labyrinth. Look at this high exit, almost drops off the sled. Feet going wild.
Well, that stage she is just hanging on for dear life. That's not steering, that is self-preservation. Start draw number 15, top of the track is Joske Leconte of the Netherlands. Mickey Grun